RevZilla, and today I'm in sunny Southern California on Kawasaki's new Z650. All the motor journalists here in Cali were irritated with me because this morning it was pouring down rain, and I think they blamed me. I think they thought that I brought it with me from Philadelphia. But as you can see, this afternoon it is beautiful and it is sunny, exactly what we would expect in SoCal. So what I wanted to do today was to bring you along for this ride. You know, we're here at the press event. We've got some time to give you some initial first impressions of what you can expect from the Z650 from Kawasaki. And if you're looking at this and you're thinking to yourself, hey, this looks a lot like a Ninja 650 that just took its pants off, you are absolutely correct. This is going to be a naked Ninja 650, but the Ninja 650 for 2017 is all new as well. So what you have is you have new engine, new chassis, you got this trellis frame on here, new swing arm, new brakes, you got revised suspension. I mean, they really just threw the kitchen sink at this thing. So if you're familiar with the old 2016 Ninja 650, throw what you know out the window. This is going to be a new bike. And the first thing that I noticed when I got on this is how narrow the tank is. It's a 4-gallon tank, but it's extremely narrow. It feels more like you're riding a Ninja 300 than a Ninja 650. And a lot of that has to do with the chassis design. It's got a new trellis frame on here. And man, not only does it look cool, but it really aids in the handling. You know, Callie was talking about how they fine-tuned it, and it does a great job. The other thing that is going to really come into play with the handling is the fact that with that chassis redesign, they cut about 50 pounds off this motorcycle. The ABS version comes in around 410 pounds, and the non-ABS version is just a few pounds lighter than that. Handling is also going to be improved by the steering geometry. I believe they've shaved about a degree off the rake angle. They've shortened the trail up. Wheelbase is going to stay the same, so it's still very stable at highway speeds. And then the suspension actually surprised me. I wasn't expecting too much from the suspension. You know, it's a KYB, it's a budget suspension for a bike that comes in. I think this bike is right around $7,400 if you're looking at the ABS version. But the suspension was impressive. It wasn't until I really started to push it harder through the corners that it started to wallow a little bit. And that's because I'm 205 pounds, and I just don't think the springs are going to be, you know, strong enough for a rider of my size. But for most riders out there, or for lighter riders out there, it's going to be a pretty competent, you know, setup right from the get-go, and you can have a lot of fun with this. The one thing, you know, I will hit on while we are talking about the chassis, while I really like the way the bike handles, the ergonomics are not quite set up for a rider of my size. I'm 6'3", and you can see here the handlebars are pulled back a little bit, and I do feel a little bit cramped. And not so much for my lower half, but it's really, I wish that the bars were flatter, a little bit wider. And I was talking to Kevin Allen, who is the PR manager at Kawasaki, and he had a great idea. He was like, well, what if we incorporated something like the ErgoFit system like we have on our Vulcan S bike? I was like, well, that would be great, because I would be able to fine-tune this. I'd be able to give myself wider lower bars and really work for my size. And I really do see this bike appealing to a wide variety of riders. You know, it's approachable enough for a new rider that they can get on and have some fun with and not be intimidated. And what I like about this, as opposed to some of the smaller bikes, is that there's a little bit more to grow into. So even as your skills progress and you want to start ripping down through the corners and the canyons a little bit faster, you just pull back on that throttle, and there's a lot of fun in this engine to be had. But the engine wakes up right around 4,000 or 5,000 RPM, and it pulls hard all the way to the red line. It's a very linear feel to it. And for those of you new riders out there, what we mean by linear feel is there's not really going to be a spike in the power band. It's just kind of, it pulls at an even ratio. It's a very fun little engine, and especially when you're looking at the power to weight ratio, you know, they didn't give us exact numbers on how much power this is putting out, but it is right around 48 foot-pounds of torque, peaking right around 6,500 RPM. And slipper assist clutch makes shifting a breeze. The levers are completely adjustable. I like that. One of the complaints that I had with the Z800 was that only the brake lever was adjustable. I now have adjustable levers at the clutch as well as the brake. And this came in handy when we were swapping back and forth. Different journalists were popping on different bikes because we had to figure out, you know, what color was going to go faster. It's white, by the way. But the thing that I did notice is that the brakes weren't my favorite. They feel very vague for the initial pull, almost a wooden feel to them. It's not really until you get about halfway back through the lever pull that they start to really engage and give you the feedback you're looking for. And I'm looking down here, it's got rubber lines, probably budget pads, so that's probably something I would upgrade if I was going to put this in my garage. But the ABS bears mention because it engages seamlessly, and it's going to be something that I think will be appealing for new riders, you know, if they have to romp down in an emergency situation. When you're looking at this bike, there's no bones about the fact that you're probably also considering, you know, a bike like the FC07 or the SV650. And I would love to, you know, maybe later in the year get some more time with this bike, maybe grab one or two of those bikes and do a comparison, because I think, you know, Kawi's really going to be giving, you know, Suzuki as well as Yamaha a run for their money with this motorcycle. If you want more information, by the time you're watching this, my Common Tread first ride review will already be up. So if you do want more info, head over to Common Tread, check out my first ride review of the Z650, where I'll have some extra information to share with you. And as always, make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube to keep up with all the reviews that we have rolling out at RevZilla.com and all of the crazy shenanigans that Lemmy and I are getting ourselves into. I want to thank you for joining me today on this first ride review of the Z650. I'm Spurg. Enjoy the ride.